Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Friday afternoon slash evening Zoom edition, and it's Veterans Day here in the USA. So shout out to all veterans who are joining me or watching this on the replay. Really appreciate your contribution to our freedoms, and I say that with all the sincerity I have with my sarcastic voice, but I really do mean it. My brother's a veteran, so I really appreciate what you guys have done, and I hope I can help you make some money. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go share my screen because we're gonna go to my Ethereum chart. Switch things around a little bit, and you should be seeing an article on my Ethereum chart. So let's move that here. And Ethereum rallies on BlackRock ETF filing. Next stop 2,500. So that's what's been pushing the markets up, we think. I've got a friend in the Altcoin Alert Slack group whom I disagree, Alan, who thinks it's all pure um, technical analysis, but I do think news plays a role, and I like to look for a combination of those. So this is the news for the last day or so, and the market has gone up quite a bit. The Ethereum chart, I had redrawn my ranges, the bottom range here between 1950 and 1850. It blasted through 1850. That was the top of my range before. It's now could act as support. Getting into the red today a little bit. Yeah, we were above 2100 a little while ago. Now it's at 2080. But regardless, we're through the $2,000 barrier, which is psychological barrier for many, and we haven't been up there since this spring back in April. So Ethereum looking good at the moment. Bitcoin chart, and Bitcoin's doing well. Now one could argue that the Ethereum pump is Ethereum tagging along. We talked about Bitcoin ETF, rumors and filings and discussions. That's been something we've talked about for a couple months now, it seems. So Bitcoin's up almost 2% today, broke through 37K, tickled 38K briefly yesterday. Well, it didn't quite make it actually, 37.9 and change. And then, but today's looking like a green day for Bitcoin, where Ethereum might be down a little bit. Yeah. But overall for the week, really good price action. Yeah, just good stuff. Dare I say it? Are we in a bull market? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm willing to go there, but I like what I see so far in Q4 for 2023. All right, well, that's what I have for the market overall. Anybody care to join in alternate theories or additional news that they know of? Wild, irresponsible speculation? All right, let's go over to Altcoin Alert and see if we can find some day trades or some short-term swing trades to get us over the weekend. So I'm on Altcoin Alert. I'm on the altcoin radar, and gonna reload, get the most current information. Oh, I do have a chat. Okay. All right, Marshall has to duck out, but he will check out the recording. Thanks for joining us, even if it was brief. So back to Altcoin Alert on the radar. Let's look at the AA score, see if we can find one that looks good. 80 or above is what we're looking for. TRB is very bullish. So this AA Altcoin Alert is telling us that there's an 80.8% chance that TRB will go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. We do have the weekend coming up. Generally, weekends are slower volume, which usually means I like to look for shorts. Talk about that in a little while. But the way the market's been pumping up, I'm a little fearful of shorts. I've done a few this week, but any negative trade I have right now is in a short. So let's look at TRB. It is down 10% today. Most coins are up. TRB's down 10%. Let's look at this one. And TRB is on most exchanges. I don't have it on my list. Look at the Binance chart. I think it's on Coinbase as well, yeah. Okay, I'll go to the 5-minute chart. Let's see, I turned off my range indicator. Okay, quick review of the indicators that we have. These green lines are Bollinger Bands. The red line in between is the SMA line, or simple moving average. And this is the classic setup. I should probably do a video on this, just how I set up things. I use the 50 length instead of the standard 20. Gives me a little more room. And then in addition to this, we've got the supply and demand visible range from Algo. You can find all your indicators here on TradingView with this button. You type in Bollinger Band, that comes up. Type in supply and demand, and that comes up, Algo version. We're also going to look at the RTI, Relative Trend Index. That's been my go-to alert generating indicator for the past few weeks, doing pretty well with it. We have the Cumulative Delta we're using for confirmation on trend-based trades. I do trend trades and I do dips and pumps. So, because I want to try to churn out 4, 5, 6 trades a day if possible, preferably good entries. And then I'm dabbling with this TTM squeeze. And that's currently for confirmation as well, though I haven't been relying on as much as I thought I would. All right, so on TRB on the 5-minute chart, first thing I look for is a 1, 2, 3 dip setup. I do not have that. I did have it here. This is a really nice one. Get the squeeze, the bubble, 1, 2, 3, enter here. That's 7:10 this morning. Overslept a bit, or I would have had this trade or something like it on a different coin. To the SMA line is 6%, a little higher, and we've got resistance here and here. And then if you're really ambitious, you could go for the resistance up here for 10%. And that's also the beginning of the red zone for the supply and demand. I probably would have been here in the middle somewhere. The 7%, that's a really good day trade. And then, I probably would have gotten out right about here, 8 hours later, 7.5%. That's a great day trade. So that's how you choose an exit using resistance. Resistance here. Let's see if I'll draw some lines here so they're easier to see. Here. And here. So these are the resistance areas I'm seeing. This is how I determine take profits when I'm manually trading. I mostly use a third-party software, and I'm looking for a specific target price on each one. 1% move on a chart times 10x leverage. But for those of you who are fairly new to this, you should start with spot trading, and that's how I do it, using support and using resistance as the exit. Okay, but at the moment we're sitting on the SMA line in the 5-minute chart, and that's not where we want to be. So I'm going to go to the 15-minute and use the RTI to set alerts, and then I will use some of these other indicators after the alerts go off to determine if I'm going to move forward with the trade. So what I'm looking for on the RTI, I'll blow it up a little bit. There's a few things I'm looking for. For a trend trade, I want something to crash below the 20 like this. And it might even bounce back and then dip again. Most likely my alert won't be triggered unless it's down here. And then I'll have to look at my confirmation to see if I want to get in there. So on the short side, that's what I'm looking for. Trading leverage, 10x leverage, 5x, whatever you're comfortable with. You should be an experienced spot trader before you mess around with leverage. And on the long side, I'm looking for something like this that breaks above the 80 and shoots up. My alert probably goes off somewhere around here. And then, hopefully I catch that 1 to 2% going up. When I first was using this system, and I might go back to this, I was setting my alerts here on the 50. I created this dotted line. And then if something broke above the 50, I would get in. That's more of a squeeze trade. And if it broke below the 50, that's above the 50, broke below the 50, I would evaluate it for a short trade. But I would want to look at my other indicators to determine a confirmation. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the whole layout. And unfortunately, the RTI is really skinny because of this big drop here. Let's see if I can drop it, make it a little bit bigger. It's still hard to see. Okay, so here's the alert setup. At the moment, it's hovering right out just above the 20, so that would not have triggered an alert. Going above here would have triggered an alert, and I'll show you which one. So I'm going to right click on the RTI. And my first one is going to be exiting a channel. 80 value on top, 20 on the bottom. And this is the way you do it if you want to catch those moves above the 80 on the RTI and below the 20. These are trend-based trades. And I found this with an AA score. So I'm going to click that. Go over here to my notifications, notify in my app on the pop-up on my computer, just like that. And it'll play a sound. I usually go with 3 notes reverb for this one. So that's how you do that. Should we look at SXP? This is an alert from this morning. I used the social activity sort on AA to find this one. And we have a break above the 80. But we don't have much in the way of movement on the cumulative delta. This shows sort of the strength of the candle action. I can look at this on a shorter time frame. It's trending up a little bit, but mostly going sideways. On the 2-minute, it's just mostly sideways. I'm going to pass on this. I'm not seeing enough confirmation on those other time frames or the 15-minute to justify this trade. Plus, I'm a little superstitious. I don't like taking long trades on Friday afternoon. So, and I find I'm passing on about half of these alerts, trying to get the ideal entry. It means fewer trades. It doesn't mean I miss a few, but I think I'm avoiding more bad trades this way. Okay, so we did the alert on the so we were on TRB. Let's go back to that. All right, 15-minute TRB, and we are going to do the other alert. That's what we're looking for now is more like the dip trade or the pump trade. So we're going to right click here on the RTI, and we're going to enter a channel instead of exiting. 80 and 20 again. You can mess around with these numbers if you want. Go 90 and 10 or 75 and 25, whatever, play around with it, see what you like. 1, 2, 3 dip pump. And I call it that because when it dips below the 20 and starts to come back up, that'll often be a similar structure than you would see on the 5-minute chart for the 1, 2, 3 dip. So that's Yeah, once per bar close, and then I usually do a chirpy for that one. So that's how you do those alerts. And on dips and pumps, I do look at confirmation, but I'm less concerned about it because it's sort of a contrarian trade. It's coming out of a dip, so I expect the numbers or the confirmation to not be real strong. But I've been using it more than I used to, so that's sort of a judgment call, I suppose. Okay, any questions on TRB? Very well, let's look at another sort on Altcoin Alert. That was the AA score. You saw I use the social activity for that SXP alert, so I'm going to try sorting by that. And I'm looking for fire to match up with trading activity and social activity, or a thumbs up, something like this, fire and thumbs up. Tron over 10 cents. That's kind of interesting. 7% move in one day. Tron's practically a stable coin, so this is a big move for that. ILV is something I trade sometimes. Got fire and fire on social activity. Another sort I like is long-term sentiment, elder impulse. Bullish and bullish there. So I think ILV looks pretty good. Let's check that one out. Should be on my list. Okay, let's go on the 5-minute first. And super squeezy. There's very little room between these Bollinger Bands, but it's over 3%, so that's a little deceptive. That's actually pretty good percentage distance, but visually it's very squeezy. And sitting on the SMA line, not really where I want to get in. Now we did indicator alerts before. We can also set price alerts if you're fairly new and indicators are intimidating for you. That's fine. We all start this way. You might want to just set an alert on a price. And you can, look at this area here of support from earlier this morning, right in the green zone, say $88. That would be a good place to set an alert and then reevaluate. So right click over here, add an alert. And this is how you do a price alert. That was a social activity sort. Yeah. So once you enter an alert name in TradingView a few times, it'll remember it and list it for you. So there's that one. Click create, and this is open-ended. No, it's only once. Okay. And on your notifications, click whatever sound you want to use. So, but as you know, I prefer my indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. So here we are on the 15. The RTI candles that have broken above the 80, at least recently, have done pretty well. There's a 5% move there, 4%. We had a break here, caught this move, 9%. You can also use the RTI to stay in trades if you want to monitor them and use this as some guidance to stay in trades longer. It's not really how I trade, but a lot of people like to use it for that purpose. So yeah, the values above 80 have been really profitable, multiple profitable trades in a row. So that's at least in the short term, has been a very good strategy on ILV. Nothing's gone below the 20. So let's set this up like a spot trade. So if you're spot trading, not using leverage, you'll go right click on RTI. If you want to stay on all day, you're gonna do the crossing up. Value is going to be 80. You can, again, 70, 90, whatever you want to do, but 80's been working for me lately. Alert name, think that was a social activity sort. I think it was. And you're good to go. And choose whatever notification you want. So that's how you do ILV on a more of a squeeze trade, something that's breaking out. If you want to catch a dip, and you can just do 2 separate alerts if you want. Add an alert here. We're going to be crossing up again, but instead of the 80, it's going to be a 20. Once per bar close, and call it what you want. And see, the last time it dipped below 20 was here late on Tuesday morning, and it did catch this big move up. So that would have been a great entry right here, breaking above the 20 value. So I'm digging ILV, at least as a spot trade. Any questions on this one? Okay, so we've looked at an AA score sort, social activity.
CJ?
Yes, go Kim.
On that previous chart, when it was down there around 20, you would say that you would get in there. Would you be riding that all the way to the top overnight, or would you like be in and out of it because it's an altcoin and it's very unpredictable?
The latter. I like to set a take profit right after I do my entry. So in this scenario, it's a horizontal line. It breaks above right about here on the 15-minute chart. And so I see resistance here. I'll do another line. So ideally I get a move from here to this line. Yeah, it's 7%. And that happens, you know, in 19 hours. That's a great day trade. So
Another question on the left
well, let
there.
me
You
finish
said
that
so.
thought first, though.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But if you want to monitor this, you see how the RTI stays in the green above the 80 value and even goes higher. You can ride this all the way up. So I just, I'm busy. I want to set my trades and then go do something. So, and that's probably a little, maybe some immaturity on my part, but if you pile up my approach is to pile up small wins. So, but with this bull market coming, I may have to, I've already made some adjustments on my auto trading and trying to get some bigger wins. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, Kim, what else did you have?
Okay, you said this is your first resistance over there. You set it over there, and there was another resistance. It looked like it was the same height, but you didn't. I guess you didn't count that. So you said it.
Okay, good eye. You could argue this
So
is this is resistance too, right about
so
here.
so how
So
do you determine which one's the best? I mean, what are you
well,
basing that on?
yeah, obviously you can't see the future, and at the time you're making this trade, this is what you're seeing. So you may have some resistance here. Actually, I often choose the middle. So now that we're closer to this, there's resistance here, and resistance up here. So those are the options you have. I probably would have chosen the middle, and picked up that 7%. But as a day trader, I'm thrilled with 7%. And if that's my plan, and I execute my plan, then that's a win. I don't care if it goes beyond that. A lot of traders get bummed out when they get out too soon and it keeps going up. But if that's your plan and you consistently do it and consistently win, there's nothing wrong with that. But other traders would argue that no, you need to stay in longer and get those bigger gains. I just say trade your plan your trade your plan. If you've been with CryptNation very long, you've heard Bryce say that many times, and I agree with it. So Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
All right, cool. Anything else? Anything else in ILV? We'll look at one more. All right. Let me get rid of these. And so let's sort. I wanted to show you guys something bizarre. I can't remember the last time I saw a single digit on the Elder Impulse is bearish. So can we find anything bearish? Okay, this is what I was looking at earlier. The Elder Impulse is bearish on Maker. So let's look at a trade or a short for the day, for the weekend. And so I was looking at this earlier on Maker. And again, if you're a more experienced trader and you trade on leverage, this is something you may want to consider. It has hit the top zone, the top of the range a couple times yesterday morning, and again late in the day yesterday, and then kind of trending down. Sitting in the middle right now. Don't love that entry. So, and the RTI is not really giving us much to work with. We did get this breakdown below the 20, right about here. So, not great confirmation. We get a big red, a medium green, and then another red. That might have been enough for me. So had I gotten in there, I would have gotten my 1% on a short times 10x leverage. That's a good trade for me. And anyone else who trades like that. But if you're looking for a bigger move down, maybe deeper into the green zone, you might still be in that trade because it did dip and then now it's kind of going sideways. So if you want to set up an alert to catch a short, you could do a price alert up here where the resistance is. That's going to be around 1381, 1380, 1390 in this vicinity. And then on your RTI, that SXP came up again. I'll look at that later. On the RTI, we'll look for a dip below the 20 is going to put it pretty close to the bottom zone. This is not, I want some distance, at least like 2% is as a rule I've been sort of working with the last couple of weeks. And that gives me room to get my 1%, but doing a short close to support is risky. You don't want to short at support. It's one of my rules, or most traders' rules. You don't always want to buy along at resistance, but with the market trending pretty hard to the bull, buying in the resistance is a little less dangerous than it used to be. Where shorting at support is more dangerous than it used to be. So anyway, if you want to try to check this out, be careful, maybe go in smaller than usual. On the short side, we're going to cross down on the 80 once per bar close, call it what you don't want. So that's that pump, and then a drop on the top side, and then the bottom side, you just use 20. You set separate alerts, one at the 80 and one at the 20. Okay, that's my short of the weekend. Anybody have any questions over what we've gone over? Or anybody want to look at a specific coin? A lot of them have been pumping this week. You know what? I will pull one out of the air.
I have a few questions, please.
Okay, I'll be right with you, Pierre. I want to do one more thing while I'm thinking about it. You can also sort based on the 24-hour change. You can look for shorts you can either look at this data like, okay, these are trending down, so they're going to keep going down, or you can look at this as these have been beaten down. They should return. They should be due for a return. So like we have TRB that's down almost 11%, but has a high AA score. That means in the past when it's dipped like this, it's come back. So that might be one way to evaluate this sort. And then when you go on the long side, you see a bunch of coins that have pumped today. I was going to look at Solana, but let's talk to Pierre first, and then we'll, if we have time, we'll look at Solana or something else if you guys want. What's up, Pierre?
Yeah, well, I'm new in town, so everything is new for me.
Okay.
And I apologize for my English. I'm a French Canadian, so sometimes I don't have the right words or the right expressions.
Well,
But
I
now I
understand you.
don't
Okay.
understand. Pardon me?
I understand you. Okay. Maybe I talk too
Okay, no
fast for you to understand me, but
No, that's okay. It's easier for me to understand than to speak.
okay.
So, but I don't know what's the purpose of the TTM squeeze indicator.
That's a good question. I glossed over it earlier, and this is supposed to be for confirmation. So, like, let's say we have this drop here on Maker. It breaks below the 20 on the RTI, so I'm interested in that. And then we talked about, I'm more focused on the cumulative delta, but what we don't have yet is we're not in the purple range of the TTM squeeze. So this is a momentum indicator that I've been dabbling with. And you'll find if you attend my Zoom calls very long that I'll often change out some of these indicators. This is just one I'm testing. I've had it on for, I don't know, a week, 10 days, something like that. I was thinking of setting alerts on it, but I'm doing well enough with the RTI that I'm reluctant to change. But no strategy works all the time. If you look at some of my past Zoom calls, you'll see, I was on the RSI or some other, or the MFI, the money flow index, and whatever works at the time is what I'm going to use. But short answer to your question is I'm testing this. It's supposed to be for confirmation. We'll see if it hangs in there. Otherwise, I'll kick it out and look at something else.
Okay, so your primary indicator is the RTI, and then
Yes.
you're using the two others for confirmation.
Correct.
On the cumulative delta, you're just looking at the red part of the line, the column?
Well, it could be green if it's going up, but it's these candles. And what I'll do is I'll look at them on the 15-minute chart, and then I'll also look at them at the 5-minute chart. Like here's that dip, and then even down to the 2-minute chart. My buddy Frank, who showed me this, likes the 2-minute and the 1-minute on this. I like the 5-minute a little bit better, but each trader has his preferences. So
Okay, but you're just looking at the red or green part, not the other gray part.
right, I'm less interested in that. Well, it'll be if most of the transactions are to the negative, are sells, it'll be gray with a red candle. If they're mostly buys, it'll be a black rectangle with a green candle on the end. So it's pretty much the same information. The green corresponds to the black and the red corresponds to the gray.
Okay, and when it's longer than the one before, is it because there are more volume or more transactions or
More
trades?
transactions in that direction, yeah.
Okay.
See the candle you see on this chart, on this maker chart, there could be one sale more than there is one buy, and that'll make the whole candle red. So this delta information tells us more what the actual traders are doing, within this time frame. So that's why I like it for confirmation.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, no.
All right, cool. Oliver wants to look at Solana. I thought I heard Kim.
Yeah. You had mentioned take profit. You'd like a set of take profit.
Mm-hmm.
What exchange are you using? Because I'm using Kraken and I was using KuCoin and they kicked me off because I'm in Texas. But most of them, you can set one or the other, but you can't set a stop loss and a take profit. They won't let you.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've traded spot, but yeah, I have a sneaky way to get into Bybit, so that's what I use most of the time. If you if you had some success as a spot trader and you're ready to go to leverage, I recommend Bing X, but not too much money, because I don't know. I think Bryce would criticize this one yesterday on the Thursday VIP call. So as it's a fairly new exchange, so maybe it's going to work. Maybe, you know, maybe it doesn't FTX. I hope not. But I like it because as an American, I can get on without KYC or using a VPN. So you know, that one's available as well.
Okay, and
So, but for
the
spot, you say Coinbase doesn't let you use a stop loss and a take profit?
no,
Huh. They've got I thought they upgraded their system, but I didn't look at that specific function.
maybe since they've upgraded it, it's changed. But you know, I was messing with it forever, and it just you know, it's one or the other, and you just can't. It keeps you sitting there as opposed to setting it up and then like walking away, or you know.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. Other than I'm doing all my trading on Bybit and BingX, so I mean I have accounts in KuCoin and BitGet, but I haven't used them very much. So, do any other traders have any suggestions for Kim? Yeah, I think most of them are like me. They're using Bybit for leverage, and when you're ready to do that, email me and I'll show you how we get on that one. So
It seems like all these altcoins are such tiny amounts. If you don't use leverage, you're wasting your time and fees.
well, yeah, I mean the altcoins I've showed you all have decent volume, like 5 million or more per day. You know, we're on Maker now. That's probably, well, I'm not going to look up all of them, but you know, that's probably 5 to 10 million. So, you know, that's going to work out reasonably well. If you try to get a 2 or 3% move or a 4 or 5% move, you shouldn't get killed on fees too much. And if you're setting a take profit, that's a limit order. So that's either going to be a reduced fee or maybe even a no fee, or sometimes they even pay you if you're on leverage, but for limit orders. But that's probably a Zoom call for another time. But that's a pretty good topic on an update on exchanges. So, and then the purists don't like centralized exchanges at all. They want to trade on DeFi exchanges like you know, Uniswap and things like that. I haven't done much of that in my career. I hate the fees are, I think fees are bad on Coinbase. They can really get brutal on DeFi. So, all right. Any other questions? I think Oliver wanted to look at Solana. I had a text message that I think is going to free up some more time for me, so I can accommodate Oliver. Yeah. All right, let's look at Solana. Okay, it's a day trade. I don't recommend shorting it. And then I was looking at the news, and it just essentially says that it's pumping, which I could figure that out from the chart. I mean, Solana was pummeled so much because it was related to FTX and that whole debacle, but looks like it's kind of broken free from that. Now it's over $50, which is a great move for it. 56 now. Wow. So that one's looking good. It's in the red zone. This is where I would consider shorting it if I were really ambitious, but yeah. Again, on the RTI, looks like I was looking at this morning, but it never dipped. It stayed above the 80 the whole time. So it didn't trigger any alerts for me. But yeah, if you want to trade this, set it up like the others. Maybe, we haven't talked much about doing longer charts, say a 30-minute chart, hour chart. But you're in the red zone on pretty much any chart length. Hours the longest I go. And that's usually for longer swing trades. I don't talk about that much on this call, but let's go with what I know. 15-minute. I've already got the alerts in. So I've got the entering channel on the 80-20. That's going to be for dips and pumps. And the exiting channel also on 80-20, and that's going to be for trend trades. So if this thing, say, dips below the 80 and then breaks back above it, my alert would go off. And that would be kind of like the setup here. We had a break above the 80, dipped below, then came back up. And you can see we picked up another, 16%. So these kind of moves on a coin that's pumping can be really valuable. I think it did it again here. Yeah, it just dips below the 80 and then comes back up. So that would trigger that exiting the channel alert and catch it there and catch that move. See, that would have happened at right about 7:15 this morning. So yeah, catch this move here. Excellent confirmation on the cumulative delta. I might dump the squeeze. It's too slow. Maybe I need to mess around with some of the settings on this. So yeah, we get that confirmation there. I'm sorry, here. And then boom, big move up. So, but bear in mind that at that time, the red zone is going to be, right where it was. So just bear in mind, you're taking a long trade at resistance, but in a pumping market, in a bull market, coins don't always care about support and resistance. So, okay, I have time for one more question if somebody has something. Or any questions on what I just talked about?
Pierre again.
All right, go ahead, Pierre.
Yeah, with the Altcoin Alert, you have three different strategies: the AA scores, social activity, and long-term sentiment. Is there one that is more efficient than the two others?
Not necessarily, and I'm glad you brought that up because these aren't necessarily strategies. I view Altcoin Alert as an information source. My strategy is what I've shown you on the charts.
Okay.
And my goal is for you guys to take your Altcoin Alert information and get better entries and get better and to pile up those small wins so that your balance can really grow. So with that in mind, I use this information to tell me what's moving, what has potential. So, I mean, the AA score is going to tell me what has potential to move up. We have this high score here on something that's down 10+%. So all this is telling us is in the past when TRB has been in a situation like this, it's gone up 80% of the time. So, that's pretty good information to have if you want to trade that one. And then I try to match this up with coins that I like to trade. You see the little stars next to them. Those are coins I trade with some frequency. So I'm not a purist with this. I don't, you can go on the Slack group and get those alerts and jump on trades when those alerts go off. But that's just not, I already knew how to be a day trader for about a year or so before I got involved with AA. So I try to take that information and meld it with what I knew already. That's my approach. I hope it helps you guys.
I started to receive these Altcoin alerts on myself, but it seemed that it's never the good time to enter a trade when I received it.
That was my experience too in July of 2020.
Okay.
I just went in blindly for a while and it worked and then it worked till it didn't. And then I said, well, but when I started applying my TA technical analysis to that information, especially, the AA score, and then the long-term sentiment sort has been really good over the years. When you match it up with the Elder Impulse, and you can hover over these question marks to see what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just matching up what people are talking about with technical analysis, and then that's just my cue to look at it, in more detail and to apply what I know about technical analysis. So that's how I use this. Good questions, Pierre. You are welcome anytime, my friend.
Thank you. I'll be there on Monday.
All right, cool. Well, guys, we're at over 45 minutes now. This is chattier than I usually am on a Friday, but it's good to have some new blood in the group. Good questions, and I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys have a good weekend, good Veterans Day weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.